Straight women of Reddit. What makes a guy good in bed? Story 1. Listening. When we say right there, do not change what you are doing. That usually means we are close to an orgasm, and if you change something it all goes away. And please make noise. Shreks should be fun, noisy, sweaty and a good time. Story 2. If you enjoy it, let the girl know. It's really awkward if the girl's enjoying herself and moaning and the guy is just ninja quiet. I know some guys are conditioned to be all quiet, but during Shreks, it comes off as weirdly contemplative and like you're uncertain. Also, I feel like this is obvious, but women usually really appreciate foreplay. Exchanging oral Shreks in the beginning is fun and kind of lets you get to know each other a little bit more in terms of what they might like or don't like. Start off slow and gentle and take cues from the girl. If you're going down on her and you find that she isn't quite as sensitive as you thought, then ease into more clit stimulating positions. Story 3. Foreplay does not start at the clit. It is the penultimate step. Foreplay starts with caresses and kisses and biting etc on all the other parts of the body, and don't be afraid of exploring. A calf or the inside of an elbow can be just as sensitive as a nipple. After she's all hot and bothered, then go to the clit to ramp it up and ideally make her come before penetration. Plus the normal communication. Don't take it too seriously. Listen to non-verbal cues, spice it up, but don't get position obsessed etc. Edit. If for any number of reasons you and or your partner want to delay her orgasm until intercourse, go for it. I was mostly saying because A, many women can't orgasm from intercourse, and B, many men feel pressure to make her do so, which might be alleviated by getting her off first. That said, communication is key, and if she wants you in there sooner, then get in there, champ. Story 4. Here's my 2 cents. Licking/sucking nipples is constantly overlooked but real valuable. Fingering is really hot. Don't try and make it feel like a dick either. I think that's a big misconception with hand play. I get really turned on by the idea of fingers inside me curling to the front wall of the vagina and pressing the G-spot. Don't quit twisting it around, because I know what a cock feels like, and that is not it. Wet, tongue heavy making out. Appreciative noises/dirty talk. Always good, but if you use the word daddy you're going to have to leave my house. Story 5. The best Shreks is Jekyll and Hyde Shreks, which is when 1 second you're a Shreks monster and then the next you brushing the hair out of my face saying you're so beautiful, and then back to ducking me sideways. The flip-flop between aggression and tenderness puts your body and mind on such a ride. Also, not concentrating too much on being good in bed, like you have to prove something to me. Move with the energy of the moment, and I'll move with you. Story 6. I think the best way for 2 people to have fun in bed is to be open and honest about their wants and needs. I understand that may feel uncomfortable for some, but being honest about what you like and don't like will avoid a lot of awkwardness. Use your hands. Caress our skin. Chicks will react to where they enjoy being touched. Prime us. Do not just ram it in and jackhammer until you're done. That is boring, somewhat painful, and will give us very little incentive to let you try it a second time. Most of all, just relax and have fun. If your chests make a fart sound, laugh, because that shit is always funny. Story 7. I haven't seen anyone else say this, but I feel making out is extremely underrated. Most of the guys I have been with kind of rush through the making out and then stick their hands down my pants, rushed foreplay and then straight to Shreks. There is nothing hotter than having an intense makeout session where you're not really doing anything else than grabbing and grinding at each other's bodies and forgetting how to breathe because you're kissing so intensely. Story 8. One of best Shreks sessions ever was with this guy who seemed to attack my body like a tiger. He was everywhere, touching, biting, licking, sucking. I don't know how he did it, but there was so much sensation at so many different spots at the same time. I begged him to duck me, but he denied my request and just kept going with a tease. Once he finally put it in, mother of God, that was good. Further, looking me in the eye when you deeply penetrate me. Take the lead. Make noise. Story 9. Willingness to learn. Someone who wants to completely please me and acts like I'm some sort of goddess. A little bit of rough play, spanking, biting and lustful grabbing of boobs and bum, but doesn't take it all too seriously. If I'm made to feel like a Shrek's goddess, then I will make you feel like a Shrek's god. Marvel at my body and I will worship your cock. Story 10. Only one woman's opinion, but a big part for me is feeling really wanted. That look a guy gets where his eyes glaze over a little bit because he realizes you're going to duck him. The line between this and being desperate is, I think, separated by confidence. Letting me know you're incredibly turned on by me without being pushy or needy. Yay. Kissing. Please don't be all saliva. Why? Not dry, but not wet enough to leave visible spit on my lips. A little lip biting, without drawing blood, is very hot. Plus, I love the dirty talk. After we've done it once or twice, this isn't first date material. Tell me you're hard thinking about pushing me up against my desk and ducking me from behind. I'll be in my bunk. Story 11. When I'm on top, let me control the pacing and the rhythm. I'm doing what I'm doing for a specific reason. I'm trying to get off and found the perfect angle and pace to do so. I know it's hard and I always appreciate the enthusiasm, but just relax and give up that little bit of control. You can have it when we switch positions. Make some noise. I don't care if you think you sound weird. We like to hear moans as much as you do. Foreplay. I personally prefer the long, slow foreplay that drives me crazy and makes me beg for that penis. This is a personal one, but the hottest thing that's happened in bed was while I was on top and we were making out, and he stopped kissing me, told me to open my eyes, and held eye contact for a brief while. It was so incredibly intense. Story 12. Know how to go down on a girl. Don't be grossed out by it and then expect her to blow you. I dated so many guys who were so bad at eating a girl out, but thought they were good. It's not Shrexy when it feels like a cocker spaniel is lapping at your vagina. I really hated oral Shreks and didn't think I could enjoy it until I met my girlfriend. Story 13. Foreplay and an understanding of erogenous zones. A guy that actually knows what is up with female anatomy is awesome. Do not just go for the clit. Also understanding that for women, arousal is very psychological. Especially when I'm on meds, namely birth control, which you should be thanking me for. I cannot just flip a switch and be turned on. The worst is a guy that rushes things to get to the penetration. I've had to stop them before and say I'm not ready, stop, and by then, I'm already apprehensive and it's hard to get into it. Even when wet, without the right amount of arousal, the muscles down there can still be tight and make Shreks uncomfortable. Personally, I like it when guys pick me up and flip me around. My greatest turn on is being taken against the wall. Maybe because I'm normally physical and strong, so it feels nice to have someone overpower me. Also, I really love it when guys talk/make noise. The sound of male voice can be very stirring. Also, the Shreks feels more personal that way, and it's pretty useful for finding out how we want it. I love when a guy praises my body in a sincere way. I don't look like a plastic porn star down there, and I used to hear guys say really disparaging things about some female models in my nude life drawing classes. Art student. So I used to be really shy about getting oral, because I felt like I was going to be judged by how I looked down then. One day, in the middle of going down on me, the guy said something like, "Damn, I could do this for hours," and it was crazy how good and Shreksy that made me feel. He would say he liked how I was a little bit different, and that gave me so much more confidence. It's also kind of weird the first time a guy calls you a slut or whore during Shreks, maybe because society shames us for wanting Shreks. I dunno. Sometimes it's fun for dirty roleplay, and I'll be the first one to volunteer it. But other times it makes me feel like some porn star fantasy, and gross. Story 14. It honestly depends on what the specific girl is into, but I'll let you know what I like. I enjoy rough sweaty Shreks, the kind that leaves you breathless when you're finished. Occasionally I like being choked and scratched. Don't forget about the boobies. The boobies are tender and can really get it going. Don't be that asshole that doesn't wear a condom then goes around whore bashing when you get an STD. Also, guys, some girls can't get off from penetration alone, so stimulate that clit, damn it. Story 15. Study lesbian porn. The down and dirty real lesbians, not the be for money obviously fake ones, and watch how they eat each other out. Pay attention to how they finger each other, and definitely remember where they touch and kiss each other besides the mouth/bob/vagina triangle. We know how to please ourselves, so learning from how lesbians have Shreks is your ticket to Orgasm City. I've been with so many guys who think flicking their tongue back and forth a few times is a good technique, or rapidly shoving their fingers in and out will get me off in seconds. Vaginas can be complex if you don't take the time to get to know them. But once you know them, it's a cakewalk. Passion is big too. Touching, breathing, talking, feeling each other's bodies is a huge turn on for me. Let my body move with yours. Just lose yourself in my body and I will do the same. Lots of people feel insecure about their naked body, so letting your partner know that you not only want their Shreksy naked body, but it turns you on like crazy is key. That one goes for both the ladies and fellas. Like the guy said, engaging during Shreks is really the biggest turn on. When a guy doesn't let me take control and won't switch to different positions, it makes me feel like I'm just acting as a breathing fleshlight. Story 16. A guy who doesn't think I must like Shreks just the way his ex liked it. A guy who doesn't think every woman wants to be slapped, hair pulled, choked, and jackhammered just because some do. A guy who hasn't learned his moves from porn. A guy who is patient, tender, passionate, and willing to take a little guidance without getting his feathers ruffled. Story 17. There must be a balance between wanting to please and being pleasured. Too much one way or the other is no bueno. Yes, there is such a thing as wanting to please too much. IDK if I'm alone in this or not, but there are times when pretty much right from the start I know an orgasm just isn't going to happen. It's not his fault, it's just something to do with female biology or how the planets are aligned that day or something. But that doesn't mean Shreks isn't pleasurable. For the most part, I enjoy Shreks, whether an orgasm happens or not. Guys sometimes don't understand this and make it their mission to make an orgasm happen. That's great, and I applaud his eagerness. But don't force it, man. I've had partners who are literally upset with themselves or me after Shreks because I didn't come, even though I had a good time. That's a real bummer. Story 18. 1. It's called foreplay. Kissing, rubbing, touching, etc. If you do it so well and so long that I have to beg you for it, we'll both be so thankful. But even a little is better than nothing too. If I start to move and try something, let me. Don't take over. I like when we can both do the work in turns, and I love seeing my movements please you. I'll let you know when I want you to take over. Of course, if you just can't help yourself, I totally understand. 3. This is just for me and anyone like me, I guess. I can nipple O, clit O, and G-spot O if you look, listen, and watch. You'll get me to do all 3, and I'll never let you leave my bedroom again. 4. Slow until I say fast, then fast and hard. If you beat me with it before it's time, it's going to hurt and immediately turn me off. 5. Make some noise. Yeah, you can read that in the announcer voice. I did. Tell me it's good. Moan. Say things to me that make me wet. Tell me what you like and how and where. Compliment me. It's weird and awkward to be the only one speaking or making any sound of enjoyment. 6. This is a big one. After we're done or are resting in between sessions, talk to me. Even if it's about nothing. A good laugh after great Shreks is a place where I could die right then and go happily. I'll also likely be inclined to give you a great massage while we do, because it makes me happy. As everyone here has likely said, it's pretty individualized. But if you do this, then to me, you're extremely good in bed. Story 19. Voracious appetite for Shreks, variety, and no fear in asking for what he wants or taking it. Consensual, of course. I'm a submissive, so if your girl is dominant, this may not apply. Foreplay starts with flirting, teasing, kissing, touching, etc. Don't be afraid to suck hard on the nipples. Oral Shreks is important because women can have multiple orgasms. This is where she may have her first. Communication during foreplay. Talk dirty and find out each other's preferences beforehand. During Shreks, give instructions for pleasing you. It will please her to know. During Shreks, try to find her sweet spot and keep hitting it. Eye contact is intense while in missionary and adds a layer of intensity. Don't be afraid to talk dirty or make her do dirty things. Unless I'm uncomfortable with it, I will do anything a man asks me during Shreks. It's hot pleasing for a woman to please her man in the heat of the moment, as long as it's clear he's enjoying it. Balance these two things, aggressive ducking and tender kissing during breaks. Like edging, going back and forth builds intensity, and release becomes intense. Nobody wants a jackhammer for 45 minutes, neither do they want sweet love making. Don't be afraid to push boundaries. A guy asked me once to choke and slap me on our first night together. It was the hottest thing ever, and I've been hooked since. Beyond the other stuff, set a mood with music and candles. The more senses active during love making, the better the experience. If you've been rough with her, don't forget to cuddle it out after. Story 20. Say my name. Just once is enough. Doesn't have to be every time we Shreks, but if I do something especially awesome then moan and say my name. I'll never forget it if you do. Also, don't just dive into the good bits. Give us a chance to get mentally prepared by kissing and touching us everywhere else first. Then by the time you do get there we will be desperate for it. It's better that way. Story 21. Please for the love of God, make some damn noise. I have had to have this same conversation with every single partner I've ever had. Do you like it when women moan? Do you like it when they whimper? When they breathe heavily? If you do, then return the favor. It is frustrating how damn stoic men try to be in bed. I don't need a cheesy porn narration, but if I'm moaning and panting while you are not, I just feel put out of the moment and my drive goes way down. I need visual and auditory feedback of your enjoyment other than your boner please. I'm not asking you to fake it, just let loose a little, okay? Story 22. Okay, a lot of women are on here saying to be rough and assertive, and that's fine, but can you please ask what we are into first? Just because 50 Shades of Grey is a thing, that doesn't mean all women are naturally submissive, and just because that porn star loved getting facials in that super awesome vid, that doesn't mean the woman you are in bed with right now is going to get off on it. It takes 2 seconds to ask what someone likes. Come on man. If you can't communicate you shouldn't be doing power play anyway. If I have one more dude spring the super dom routine on me unprompted then I'm taking my ball and going home. Story 23. My boyfriend and I do what the other likes. He knows I enjoy it when we take it slow, and I know he likes it when we get rough. He is also open to exploring new things with me, but is okay if I find I don't like it. He always makes sure he's not hurting me and that no matter what, it feels good to me. He doesn't make me feel like he is masturbating with my vagina and we keep it fun. I used to not enjoy Shreks, but I can't get enough of it with him. Also that look he gives me. Story 24. Someone has said it in the comments, but it can't be overstated. Foreplay. Please note this doesn't consist of just oral Shreks or playing with nipples. The best foreplay is what I would consider early relationship foreplay, when you haven't yet seen the person's body naked yet. The following places when touched softly can do so much more than pinching nipples can. Inside of elbows, inner forearm, back of neck, ears, upper thighs. Disclaimer, this may be specific to me, but I really hope not. More erogenous zones for all. Story 25. Someone over on Ask Women told me I should come over here and post. I'm not straight. I like all kinds of people, men included. I hope that's still okay. My spouse 2B has an approximate 3-inch erect penis, and he is the best lover I've had. He's the only man who has been able to bring me to orgasm. What makes him a great lover is his entire approach to Shreks. He's completely unashamed of his genitals. He doesn't take Shreks too seriously, has a sense of humor about it, and knows that clumsiness, erection issues, queefs and other accidents are just a natural part of Shreks. He communicates constantly. Shreks with him is chatty, in a Shreksy way, asking each other what we want, if we like this, telling each other what we are going to do next, paying attention to all communication, whether it's facial expressions, noises, bodily reactions like shaking thighs, and tightening stomach muscles, the whole lot, and learning what that means. He gets that every single person has their own preferences regarding Shreks, which means there's no such thing as one good Shreks technique. Being good at Shreks means learning what works fresh every time you're with someone new. And he's open and willing and excited about trying new things. Shreks with him is fun. Dirty, silly, romantic and sometimes exhausting, because he doesn't race to the finish line. He'll repeatedly stop himself from climaxing and pause to try something else in order to make it last as long as possible for both of us. He's wonderful. Generally, what makes a guy good in bed can really vary, but there are some important things to keep in mind. A lot of this is stuff I've learned through him. Women's genitals vary in size too. For every size queen who loves a foot long, there's a woman who cried out in pain the last time she had Shreks with an average guy because he kept hitting her cervix during Shreks. This is me. The most sensitive area of the vagina is the first couple of inches inside, and obviously the most sensitive areas of her genitals in general will be the clitoris and the inner labia. Deep penetration is not required for all women. Many actually prefer not to have it. For women who enjoy receiving anal and giving head, and there are a lot of us, it's actually more common to have an upper limit rather than a lower limit on the kinds of penises we like. Personally, I love giving head to my other half. I can take him in my mouth up to the hilt without triggering my gag reflex, which lets me have a lot more fun getting him off. A majority of women cannot orgasm vaginally. Even the biggest guy in the world is going to be getting fake orgasms if his approach to Shreks is to assume his size is all he needs and just humps away like the most boring Duracell bunny ever. Most women need clitoral stimulation to come, which doesn't just mean 5 minutes of fingering before the PIV. It means the PIV is not the main attraction for her. It means put yourself in positions where you can continue to apply fingers or a small toy to the clit, labia and anus while you duck. It means oral until orgasm is something she likes to receive as much as you do. Using toys isn't about whether or not you're enough. I don't need toys for my other half to make me come, but the fact that he's enthusiastic about using them simply because he knows it feels good for me is awesome. Girth feels nice, but it isn't everything. And if she really likes feeling like she's taking something wide, keep in mind that changing the angle of entry can make a significant difference. And note that there is a single figure 8 shaped muscle that surrounds both the anus and vagina. If she's got a toy in her, but she'll automatically feel more stretched vaginally. There is no such thing as too much lube. Communication is everything. If in doubt, ask her to let you watch her masturbate. Make sure she knows it's not just about putting on a Shreksy show for you, but because you want to see how she gets off. Take note of where she touches herself, and specifically the kinds of touch she uses. Some women like to pull back the clitoral hood when playing with it to get to the most sensitive spot. Others find that incredibly painful. Some never even touch it directly and prefer to tease around the base of it. Notice what she likes, and be sure to give her a show of her own at some point too. Oh, also, orgasm is not the be all and end all of Shreks. Yeah, I love it when he makes me come, but I often don't, and I still love Shreks with him, even when orgasm doesn't happen, because Shreks is supposed to be fun, not a competition. Sometimes we'll have lazy, cuddly, sleepy Shreks where both of us go back and forth between gentle humping and snuggling and snoozing and neither of us actually comes. Sometimes I just want him to grab a fistful of my hair and duck my face, and knowing that I'm pleasing him gives me pleasure, even if I don't come from it. Sometimes we'll both be so ducking horny and passionate that we skip foreplay and just go straight for a quick, hard duck and my orgasm comes afterwards when we are cuddling in post-coital bliss and he slowly brings me to climax with a hand before falling asleep. Story 26. Maybe I had Shreks with too many awful guys back in the day, but more than half, I would say, seemed completely uninterested in whether I enjoyed it. So, by virtue of the fact that you, man who is reading this thread, are even reading this thread to learn what women like, that makes you already better in bed than 50% of men. Congrats. You are at least above average. And since I answered so late and my comment is buried, and you're still reading, I bet you are as high as the top 25%. High five yourself. You are a Shrek's god. Story 27. I'm always surprised at how few guys know this, and yes, now I realize that makes me sound like a slut, but when you put the fingers in, you want to bend your finger in a come here motion with the tip of your finger touching the wall of the vagina that is closest to the stomach. So when you put the fingers in, your fingernail is down towards her back, and your palm is facing the ceiling, assuming she is on her back. Then come hither away. The spot you're looking for is somewhere between 1 to 3 inches inside. It doesn't feel special. You won't know it until she reacts. Go slow. Use additional fingers as needed. One usually won't get you far. Ideally, your fingers are doing what I've described, and your mouth is sucking/massaging the clit at the same time. Also, please have a condom ready and accessible. A new, unexpired one. And clean up if you make a mess. Have a towel handy or quickly go get a moist one to wipe her up. Nobody wants to lay there sticky. Take care of the easy things, even if your skill in the sack isn't so great yet. Story 28. Shrek's is a lot better. If you genuinely love the person you are with, you can read all the tips you want, but when it comes down to it, it's only going to be good if you really want to give your partner pleasure and be open to new experiences. Don't think that you know everything there is to know about Shreks, and listen to what your partner likes and doesn't like. It's not about dicks and balls and size. It's about connecting with someone on a deep level. That is what makes someone good in bed. Story 29. Don't forget about the boobs. Kissing, sucking, and licking all feel great. I also don't want you camping out in my lady bits. Yes, you can get me off that way and some of them are even intense orgasms, but nothing compares to the orgasms I have when you duck me. For me at least, the orgasms I have with oral can be intense, and they do the job of getting me wet, but with Shreks they are whole body experiences, where everything goes numb to all over tingling in an amazing way. The best advice is honestly to just listen to what your partner likes, and if she can't communicate with you on what she likes, then figure it out together, or find a new partner. Some girls are going to love you if you go down on them forever, some are going to love hair pulling and spanking, and others won't. Ladies, get to know what gets you off. I've had my share of Shreks, and I can honestly say that only one guy stands out as just awful, and that is because he didn't listen to me during Shreks. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more daily videos.